What up, Pittsburgh Steelers fans? It is Matty P with Marky D. Another episode of Mad Monday. Marky D, how are you doing, mate?
I'm doing all right. What are we now? 1 week away from training camp,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What day is it? 26? I'm just trying to look it
It
up.
was 25th.
Yeah. Or is it different?
Well,
for us,
26th
right?
for us. I think it's 25th for them.
Right. Any case, so mate, this is like the season's it's beginning.
It's upon us.
It's here.
It's upon us.
It is right around the corner. Like, I don't know. It feels like it's been a long off season for some. In the last 2 months has been maybe because we had so much action to start. You know, the Omar Khan, the trade, the Fred picks. And now the last month has just been drawn out, but we're almost here. We're here.
And you know what? I ought to thank the TDU fam as well, like with the subs and with the likes that we've gotten, and even the people that haven't subbed yet. And we know we're getting a lot of returning viewers. So if you are one of those people, we'd love for you to sub. It would help us in getting monetized for the season, so that we can give you guys prizes and comps and all the rest of it, and bring some extra things that we've got in the mix as well in our future plans. But the energy is like awesome, and I think like the fact that like I've looked at some of our stats on people watching our shows and the way we've kept our audience up on each and every show throughout like the quietest period. Like Steel fans are nuts, man. Like we are absolute champs. We are like, it's awesome to bring this. And like we had some comments on one of our videos the other day, and like it was awesome that like, and I saw you jumped in on it, but like we had 2 listeners jump in and just go, hey, the boys are doing something a bit different. It's quiet. It's fun to do something different. And like just the maturity, like there are other sports teams in general. There's other NFL teams that just, basement dweller type fans, just people that like, got no respect, got no sensibility, got no creativity. And I think the Steeler fans, we're just a different kettle of fish. We're so lucky to be part of like this fandom.
What fan base do you think is the worst that fans get around from all 32 teams? That is absolute no one cares about their team. What do you think is the worst
Browns.
team? You think the Browns? No, I think that they care about their team though.
No, they care about their team, but I think on social media and on the internet, they're like it's filth, to be honest.
Yeah. I think, to answer my own question, what I mean is like I think the Chargers might be one of those teams that no one, or even Rams now. You know what I mean? I don't think it's like, is there a Rams fan base or a Chargers fan base that gets around their team as much as Steelers?
The Chargers fan base, I think it's different because it's split like with the whole San Diego thing. Yeah. I think, that I wouldn't put them in that category, because if they went back to San Diego, they'd have a fan base that it would just come back to them straight away.
Stadium. That stadium was great.
Qualcomm. I've been there. Have
you? The flag and stuff like that?
Yeah, I went there. I went there in 2014. I flew into the US via the Californian side, and I had something else I wanted to do in San Diego, so I actually went to that game. I went to the stadium there.
Yeah, like we back our team, right? There's Steelers Nation and Steelers worldwide. We back our team like 110%. The guys in Mexico, they're crazy about this. I talked to guys over there from Germany.
Yeah, that was awesome. So everyone, if you missed that, check out the show Mark did with the German fans over there, Steeler Nation Germany. Mark did on Steeler Nation Oz. So might even provide the link in the
You're right. We have a lot of it's a real respect for our team and the history, whereas I think some other teams don't have that the way we have it.
Like I heard this thing the other day about the Ravens. Like I saw it on social media, have the best winning percentage at home, and I'm like, yeah, but they haven't been around for 90 years, like Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Like 20, right? They came from the Colts or something, right?
The Baltimore Colts, yeah. Well, because the Browns moved over to become the Baltimore Colts, and then they turned into the Ravens, and then
Well, if they lost Lamar, I reckon a lot of their fans would have went see you later. They would have followed Lamar, I reckon, because there was a chance where he was going to leave. He was going to leave, but now I'm so lucky we get to verse Lamar again. Well, only probably once this year.
I'm just so happy they're going to waste that amount of cap on a running back that can throw. That's only going to play 12 games. Good luck. Have fun.
And we don't know if he's going to verse us too. We have no idea. I think he's versed us 3 times in 5 years or 6 years.
You know what? Like if they hadn't signed Roquan Smith and they didn't have Patrick Queen, I'd be like, they're stuffed this year. Like the fact they've got good middle linebackers, like I back their defense, but like apart from that, I'm like,
well, imagine we had them. Imagine we had those 2 blokes there, we'd be set.
We only need one of them, I reckon.
But they're big physical guys.
The one I want's Devin White. I must say, and I know we talked all about free agents. I really wanted Devin White out. That's with Tampa. They should have made should think about a trade for him. Like,
You think Omar Khan's done? I know we're getting to the show, but you think Omar Khan's done yet? There's more moves coming.
not. I think there's more moves coming. I only would see a trade if we're moving someone on or if there's an injury to a key guy. But I think there's guys we'll bring in. I think people know. I think if you're a guy that gets cut, if you're like a guy that gets cut from another team, you've got quite a high cap number. You sit there and you go, well, do I sign a 2-year deal, right, with the Steelers, if particularly I'm under 31, and go through this year because this team next year is going to be this team should be vying for a Super Bowl next year, even if they're not this year. So you get in the team now, and then you see what happens this year. Like, but I'm not sure the Steelers want to disrupt any. Like, they'll know in the first. We're going to see some moves in the first week of camp, so that ties to the show we want to do today. And then I think they kind of need to see what they've got. Do you know what I mean? Like, they've made a lot of moves. They kind of need to let that play out and see. Yeah.
15, 16 players came in and some left too. Like a lot of players left as well. It's been one of the busy off seasons I think I've ever seen in a long time. Like a long time.
100%. 100%. So, all right. So let's get into the show today. So what we wanted to do is basically go through, we've got 4 years of rookie guys on their rookie deal right now. So Mark and I wanted to go through, and we're each going to label a player from each draft class of what we are excited, not excited, expect them to do, just a name to look out for in camp and why. So I think it works best to start from the latest draft. So we're going to do 2023, 2022, 2021, 2020. So Mark, from this draft class that was picked a couple of months back, who is the player that you're most keen to see in camp and why?
So you only want one player?
One player from this draft class, and then we'll move to the next draft class.
In camp, I guess, to make, you know what? I'm kind of keen on the fellow you brought the other day, probably Keanu Benton, I think. To see what his role can be. I know there's a lot of players you can choose, but I would like to see who's going to be that third guy on the line with Cameron Hayward and Ogun Jobis. And Keanu Benton, I think he's a guy that might have starting reps or work his way into the season. So I think this camp could be fun to see his physicality. Let's put it that way, and to see his techniques evolve as well.
Yeah, I love that. Absolutely love that. And to see where they line him up, because they do think he can pass rush as well. They'll probably want to start him more interior, but then move him out a little bit more into the pass rush as a Cam Hayward style defensive end. Look, it's hard for me because like I did a lot of talking about Corey Trice with Shannon White when he filled in when you're having a bit of a break. I'm really keen to see Darnell Washington. We do know that there's that undisclosed injury to Pat Freiermuth. I still got to say, though, a guy that I talked a lot about this offseason is Spencer Anderson. I want to see him because, like, he's such a versatile player. He can play all 5 positions. I do think he is – I think the long term, he's probably a center if he can learn to snap the ball. But all his tape I've seen at right guard, like, he could be the backup guard. And I know we have Nate Herbig, and, you know, it's hard not to say Nick Herbig in this category. But, like, Spencer Anderson – like I just want to see him because I the way he shuts down top defensive linemen in college last year, I'm just a fan. So like I want to see him. I do think he'll be a lock for the practice squad. I want to see if he can start the battle on the campaign to win a spot on the roster.
Well, that's true because if you see him start to excel, and you'll kind of see like in training camp too, we get to see what the coaches are putting on certain. Schematics, right? If you see him play at certain positions, like, oh, okay, they might be doing this. I think we can start to link things together. So if he starts playing well, he might be backup guard. That's why I like the idea around Keanu Benton because I want to see if he can start playing, and even Darnell Washington to a certain point. If he excels, then we'll figure out what kind of schemes they're going to run on offense by putting Darnell in there too. But I think it's an exciting time for the rookie players to, once they're not just individually speaking in their skill level, but where do the coaches put these players? And in our terms of our 2 players, Benton and Anderson, where do they put them? How do they fit? And when you start to see that stuff, you're like, oh, hang on, these things are gonna happen.
Especially because like Anderson in the run game, his tape in the run game is fantastic. We know the Steelers want to run the ball, and that's why I think he's got a better shot than Green, than McCollum, and if he can prove himself, then I'd stick by it. I think Dotson is a trade candidate, and like that. So like the effect of Spencer Anderson playing well impacts 3 other guys.
He plays well. Dotson gets traded. We bring back Claypool. No, but that makes sense. Yeah, he plays well. You trade away Dotson, right? It could be an idea. It could be. It could be a thing. I
100%.
wouldn't be against that. So,
All right. What about 2022? So Pickett, Pickens, Leal,
ooh,
Austin the third,
ah.
Haywood, Mark Robinson, obviously Oludokun went and won a Super Bowl with the
only
Chiefs.
so only one player. One player.
Yeah.
Who will he do it in training camp to set things up? It has to be Kenny Pickett. I'm sorry, it has to be. I think I'm just keen to see him play and just orchestrate the offense and build the confidence in the locker room with the interviews. And all the players are buying in on Kenny Pickett. To me, it's Kenny Pickett.
Man, do you see the highlights from them playing that baseball game? Right?
He knocked him out of the park 2 in a row.
Not even that though. He looks big, man. When you watched him run, like his shoulder area, like he's put on some. They say he's put on some size. He definitely has. I reckon he's put on 15 pounds, easy.
You played football, right? What is that? What is that second offense or that second year into like a? Well, you played league or rugby, right? When you're coming back from after off season, what does it mean to the team when you come back and you're bigger, stronger, faster?
Well, it shows you want to be there, right? Like that's the thing. And the thing about pro sports, particularly like the NFL, like even TJ talked about this at the end of the podcast on football, and like by this end of the season, you're battling so many injuries. Usually, you're not working out as much, so it's kind of like whatever size and muscle you can put on before the season starts. That's kind of what you're riding with, right? It's kind of like if you go into a war, you're not going to be making new capabilities once you start the war, right? You're going to be filling in anything you lose, like any assets, like a tank or a plane or whatever. Like you're not making more, you got to fill in whatever you lose. And so that's kind of the same thing I kind of compare it to, because whatever if Kenny Pickett can't put muscle on, and that was his target now in the offseason, it's not going to happen in season. He's going to be too busy in managing his body and rehabbing and stress when you're playing on a 4-day turnaround and all those sorts of things, flying in between lots of places. You're going to miss gym sessions, right? So to me, I think that mentality of I'm coming in prepared, I'm not going to rest on my laurels, I'm coming in to get better. I think it's exactly what you said. There's a mentality. And the other thing last year, he didn't get first team reps.
Nah, that's a big difference. Huge. We didn't even know who the quarterback was going to be week 1. Huge difference. We forget about that. It was Trubisky, it was Kenny, it was Rudolph, the depth chart debacle. You know, we didn't know. I thought they could have played Rudolph, and they played Trubisky, all that kind of stuff. So that's why I'm keen to see Kenny Pickett, because we now know it doesn't matter if you think he's a bad player or he won't. He still exists. I don't care about that. It's now time to get behind Kenny Pickett, and people saying it's overhype. Who cares? Well, that'll be overhyped. We just talked about that we're one of the best fan bases in the NFL. I want to ride this right now. That is year 2. The fact that I have so much more passion than I did with Big Ben when I was younger, when I was learning the game. Now I know the game, and I'm like a black and gold Steelers fan, like crazy one. I can't wait for this. You know what I mean? And young Steelers fans like Kenny Pickett, like the young guys who are 8, 9 years old, got to tell waving. Don't tell that little kid that Kenny Pickett's average. Just say Kenny Pickett's awesome and go cheer him on. Do you know what I mean?
No one can be perfect from the get-go.
No,
that's not how it works.
You got to enjoy the ride now. Enjoy the ride now, because I don't want to say, "Oh, I'll wait 5 years." You're going to miss those 5 years of like
Peyton Manning, 22 interceptions his first year, 17 the second year. Like,
yeah,
you know, it takes time to get better. My player,
fantastic. Yeah, you go. Sorry,
it's easy to go Austin or Pickens, so I'm not going to do that.
Ooh.
I'm going to go DeMarvin Leal, because he had the injuries last year. He's versatile. How are they going to use him? I'd love to say Connor Hayward, but I think Connor Hayward's going to have a boring camp, right? Like, to be honest, like I think it's going to be trying so much of this kind of offense and bringing Darnell in, and maybe they're trying a guy like Monty out in a fullback role as well. Like, I don't see Hayward having like the most crazy camp ever, or like he might have these awesome splash plays, but it's not going to be every rep. But it's DeMarvin Leal, like particularly because they bring in like Fahoko in the interior, they bring in Armand Watts, Loudermilk's there, he could be on the practice squad. They lost Wormley last year. Tyson Alualu apparently wants to come back and play. They haven't really done anything there. Who knows? I think he's past it probably. But regardless, DeMarvin Leal's versatility, and then particularly because we talked about Benton, we've got 2 really athletic, big. Yep. They're very different at the same time.
The footage I saw of the mandatory minicamps, he came back real strong. He looks fantastic. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I think he put on the 10 or 15 pounds that he lost because he thought.
Is that the same kind of thing though with the Kenny Pickett stuff? They're coming back into camp, physical, ready to go.
I reckon they said to a few blokes last year, particularly the rookies, they're like, fine. You had your rookie process. You had to shed weight for combine. You're coming back next year, and you got to come back for AFC North football. Like, I think a lot of players, obviously it depends where you get drafted, right? Particularly like some of the West Coast teams where it's high scoring. Sometimes you might consider it more athletic. I might deem athleticism a bit differently. But I think when you're playing AFC North football, it's a different kind of football, and you've got to be Kenny Pickett said it. Like the hits in AFC North football were very different to the other football, and that's why you had to get bigger. That's why you need a new helmet. That's why you had to do neck strengthening, for example. Like he said, there's a difference in the way the football's played, and you do feel it. Ben's talked about it heaps on football, and many guests that he's had on it talk about it as well. So anyway, that's why Liao's the guy I want to see, because like I love that they got Benton toward the end of the second. They got Liao in the third. These are two guys that like could have a massive impact, and they're cheap. You and I went through this when we had them, getting a defensive guy really early on in the draft, because they needed to, like, in my mind, you want to get cheaper at a position that's very expensive. Like Hargrave just signed a 4-year deal for $84 million, right? We got these guys for 4 years. So what value are we going to get out of that? All right, what about 2021? So that's Najee, Pat Freiermuth, Kendrick Green, Dan Moore Jr., Isaiah Loudermilk, Quincy Roche, Trey Norwood, and Presley Harvin the third.
In camp. Okay. This is a hard one. You know what the angle I'm gonna go with is Kendrick Green keep his job? That would be something exciting to watch. I think that's probably because we know Najee's there and Fry moves. He'll be fun to watch too. But I think is he going to come the same attitude with the Keanu Bentons, Liaos? Or is he going to walk in the locker room and be like, oh, I'm just here, and the next minute he's on the practice squad? Because you haven't really heard too much about Green and what role he might be, right? And of course with the battle with Anderson too, because who's going to be a backup center? There's jobs. He won't get the starting role, but he might play enough well to get the backup. And is he pumped up and hyped up to go and be a Steeler? Or is he one of those guys that is in the NFL for 2 or 3 years, 4 years, and says, see you later, that's it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So maybe some players aren't just really cut out to be ready for camp and get ready for the season. That some guys have the better attitude to do that. So I'd probably say Kendrick Green will be not an overall big story, but something to watch for depth if he does make it. Like, does he want to be there kind of mentality?
I'm kind of going to take the same approach with Quincy Roche, and because like Dan Moore, I think he's a lock to start the season at left tackle, and if he's not a lock, it'll be something that he just loses. I'm interested to see if he does play a bit of right tackle in camp. You should expect that. Freiermuth Harris makes sense. Presley Harvin, I think he's going to struggle to keep his job. But the guy there that I think I'm interested to see, as I said, there is like, when you've got Quincy Roche, they brought in Herbig, they brought in Marcus Golden. Can Quincy Roche somehow fight for a job? Can he prove that he can do something on special teams, or is he fighting for a practice squad job? And if he is he going to be good enough to be able to keep that, right? Like, he's in a battle now. They've got Golden. I was really sure on him making the squad before they got Golden, but Golden, it's also really cheap. So
this draft class is pretty interesting because you have the Harvin with, I guess, the probably battle there. The Norwood as well. Will Norwood make the team?
I was about to say, Norwood.
Pretty much everyone.
I think Norwood's a practice squad.
The whole roster on the draft, even Loudermilk, where's he going to go? You know what I mean? Pretty much the whole roster in this one, besides Najee and Freiermuth, have like a question mark. There's a lot because Dan Moore has the competition now too. That might be a show in itself. I don't know if we just gave away because honestly that roster there is very intriguing. Draft roster is very intriguing.
Maybe we should do that mid-camp because maybe one of these guys are already cut. Maybe one of these two of these guys have been moved.
Do we think that Isaiah Loudermilk's going to make the team? He looks like he's on the outside. Trey looks like he's on the outside. I think he's a
practice squad. And they're both practice squad guys.
So they've really lost their job over the last 2 years then with the new guys coming in. And that's why it's all about being competitive. But it's very hard to pick one play out of this.
You know what I like? I like that we're able to say they've probably lost their job because Khan's brought in guys, but also the Khan's not going to keep guys that are underperforming. If this was Colbert, they would have been kept for another year. Like they always get to be kept for 3 years,
there's no one pushing the boundaries of their
there's no challenge because the Steelers picked them in the draft. All right, 2020, Chase Claypool, no longer here. or
See you,
Claypool,
mate.
as you called him. Highsmith, McFarlane Jr., Kevin Dotson. That's it from this draft class on the roster. Because Carl Davis went to a different team. So, yeah, it's Highsmith, McFarlane, Dotson.
I'm going to put it this way. I'm going to go a different angle. I was going to go one player. I'm going to go this player now. I'm going to go Highsmith. If he comes out firing and we have both Highsmith and TJ Watt and they sign a contract, it's going to be a good, fun year. This could be one of the best duos outside the edge rushers duos in probably the whole NFL. But I was going to go a different player, but I'm going to say Highsmith to come into camp and be that leader. And if it's Batman and Robin and he signs a good deal and everyone's happy, then this team is going to be like, well, the defense is going to be on one this year.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
What about you, mate?
I think McFarlane Jr.
I was going to say McFarlane Jr., so I thought too.
Because I think, like, Dotson, I'm not saying Steelers have to trade him. I'm just saying it would make a lot of sense from a GM perspective to move him. But with McFarlane Jr., can this be the year he finally show something? I mean, right now, on the basis of not having seen anything, he's probably a cut. He's a cut because you're going to find another running back that's decent that gets cut that they can bring in. So McFarlane's got to find his way to fight. And I think even fight to make the practice squad because I'm not sure he's fully eligible this year. He might be, I think because he's 26, I'm not sure whether he will be eligible or not for it. But anyway, I mean, he could be with the veteran spot. But I just think McFarlane's the one that's under pressure to fight for a spot here.
Let's put it this way, Matty. Let's say, for instance, you got your wedding coming up, right? And say if you invited McFarlane and he didn't make it, would you be upset?
No.
Right? I just think there's been a lot of talk around McFarlane for ages. And we have seen some plays that I think he was playing well, but we just haven't seen anything from him enough to be like, he's got a role in this team. So,
but then you also wonder, like, play devil's advocate. The line's been crap.
Really bad. And it's gotten so much better in 3 years.
So you kind of think the interior and with the sweep game that he's got and Darnell Washington and Najee or Warren blocking for him, like, could this be where he breaks loose? Like, and a lot of people forget that he played at Maryland with Canada, right?
True.
So that's kind of the X factor that it's like, ooh, there could be something there.
If he's playing well and he gets like reps, 5-7 carries a game, and they're good reps, they're good solid reps with TD chance, stuff like that, this team will be in contention to score some points because we know Warren's going to run, we know Najee's going to lead. So that would be a good third back, and they're not going to use him all the time. And I guess if he can play off some kickoff returns too, I think we talked about McFarlane and Connor Hayward playing kickoff returns, the new rule, stuff like that. I think he's one to where he hasn't got a job just yet, but it's like they're going to find some good plays for him to maybe get behind the big fellas and use his speed to get around the outside. This is turning into, I know like my Madden brain's going off too, but like it's fun to see the personnel change because the offensive line wasn't great the last few years. It was terrible.
Yeah.
So, and they've all gotten better with the years.
And also you kind of think like, what if Najee did go down early on in the season?
True.
People get upset when me saying this. And you've got Warren. You want someone experienced to back up, even if he became the third guy, right? Like, you're probably not going to trust.
Haven't got a Snell now, though, because Snell could have been that guy.
That's my point, right? So, like, you've got, the Haskins guy, you've got the Alfonso Graham, but they're different kind of running backs, and they don't know the system as much, So, yeah, and the punt returner thing, because think about Gunner, right? It's easy to keep McFarland and cut Gunner, and it's a lot cheaper too. So, all right. Well, out of all the players we labeled then, who is the player on their rookie contract right now that you're most keen to see? Out of all the players you labeled, which is the one which is going to, when you look at any footage, you're zeroing in on that player.
I don't care if I'm a fanboy. I think it's Kenny Pickett, man. I'm ready to roll on this. Hey, I really am, because I think that what my point I was trying to make is we always say, "Oh, I'll wait 5 years to see how good he is." What's the fun in that? Like, I want to start cheering for him now and being hype as now, and then follow the. This is why I love the team. I follow the individual stories too until they leave the team. Then I don't care about you. If Kenny Pickett became a Bengal, see you, mate. Goodbye. We'll come and sack you. But I like to follow the.
I had a question for you. On that, just for fun, would you trade Pickett for Burrow.
Nah. And Burrow was a Steeler?
Yeah.
Like, and I had to like him?
Yeah.
Like in a fantasy made up world?
No, or in a world where like Kenny
No, I
Pickett's on his rookie
can't.
contract,
I
wins a
can't.
Super Bowl, and they're like, they need to find salary cap.
I can't answer that question. No, I don't think I would. No,
Okay.
I'm too bored now. I can't stand Burrow, man. I think Kenny's cooler than Burrow. I think
I
Burrow
do
tries
too.
to be that cool guy at the
Yeah.
party, and then like every time he takes a drink, he does like this, or like he slips. He's like, "Hey, what's up?" Or he's just really awkward. Where Kenny just comes in and walks and just crushes beers. Like Burrow seems to be the guy to stand out. He's like, did you see him trying? Was it him trying to light the cigar? It took him like 30 minutes. Well, I don't know who it was. It was him. It was someone on the Bengals guy trying to light a cigar for ages. But I think Burrow tries to be cool, Joe Cool, or whatever. But we know Kenny's cool, man. Kenny is KP8, mate. He's ready to go. Crushing beers, ready to go. What I'm saying is I want to just enjoy.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. I want to enjoy his second season and the progression of whatever that may be.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be fun. And if we see that in training camp going, did you see that pass?
See,
Like,
isn't that funny though? Like, a lot of people get depressed about the stat line, and then people like you and me that are a bit more informed, and a lot of our listeners and subs are like, he's a baller, he's a winner. And I always compare it. I call it 10 TDs, 9 interceptions because he rushed for 3 TDs, right? And I think people are sleeping on that. But it's the way that he won games and it's the way that he played that's all got us bought in, right? The average person goes, oh, he had this ridiculous stat line and they only just won these games and they should have lost a couple of them. And it's like, you got no idea. Like, you got no idea.
Let's go back to we're both massive Steeler fans, like the audience here, right?
Yeah.
That game on for Franco, it was Christmas Day,
right?
The
best.
So imagine it was Christmas Day, wasn't it? I think it was, or the night before. Yeah. Anyways, with the way
it was Christmas Day for you and I. It was Christmas Day for you and I.
Yeah, over there it was Christmas Eve. But what I'm saying is, Franco passed away. The amount of energy in that room, cool, calm, collected Kenny came down to win the game against with Pickens. That is something special that I think, even to a sense of like, you know, playing football. It's late at night. It's like probably 11 p.m. Do you want to be out there? Probably not. You probably want to be in bed. You know what I mean? He's out there slinging dimes to win the game, and it's for a special occasion. For Franco Harris just passed away. Everyone was in tears. We thought he was going to be celebrating. Now we had to honor that game. Those moments, I think, in a rookie career, are like, wow, that's fantastic. Let's enjoy that. Right? And the Raven game too, and also beating the Browns by 14 points. He got better every single game.
The break, the pocket, the throw to your running back to like who has to high point the ball, like
unreal, dude. That was like Kenny breaks out to the left. And
but that game, if you go back and watch that Baltimore game, I don't think a lot of people have done this. There are drives in that game, particularly in the fourth quarter when he went to free and moved, like, was it 3 or 4 consecutive passes kind of thing? He went for like 50, 60 yards, whatever it was. And like, there are some snaps there where he was under so much pressure. Check down, throw it away, you know, like whatever he did, whatever he had to do to make sure they did not turn that ball over to lose that game. And that's fine. You're going to play games like that. Like when Patrick Mahomes didn't do that, not last year, it was the year before. The first 6 or 8 games, Kansas City were crap because he kept going for the big play all the time. And Andy Reid apparently had to pull him in and go, mate, take the open guy. Stop trying to throw 50-yard bombs all the time. Take the open guy. You're going to win games. It's how Mac Jones got the Patriots to the playoffs in his rookie year. He did take the check down, the easy throws, the stuff straight in front of him, whatever the defense served up. And I think that mentality is going to be so key. And I just think with a run game that actually takes possession away from the other team, I just think he's primed for an awesome year.
Is it the easy answer to focus on just the stat line being 7 and 9 TDs and they don't actually focus on the actual game of football? Because I've seen him progress as a player from the very start, throwing the picks.
Well, my question to you as a fan. Well, like I know you were asking me a question then, but like the question that from where I think you were going of it is, if they win the Super Bowl 13-10.
Yeah.
Right? Or they lose the Super Bowl 29-30. Which one do you care more about? The fucking win from the 13-10. Right? So I don't know what everyone's complaining about. Like, get over it.
Hang on. So we lose 30-29, but Kenny has 4 TDs, 5
exactly.
But Kenny has 151 TD, 2 interceptions, and then we win the game. No, you want that game to be Kenny. And then also, it's been a hard game, and then Kenny's got the last TD down the field. Bang. Third, I would rather the win, and that it doesn't make sense to me. Then they go back to the stat. No, your stats are bad. It's whatever. Also, I'm going to wrap this up pretty much from now till week 1. What's the idea around everyone being so hyped on Brock Purdy, but so down on Kenny Pickett? And I know he had a good 5 games in a row, but they're giving
Brock Purdy's a system quarterback.
Yeah,
right?
I reckon he's going to get smacked.
Brock Purdy didn't have George Kittle, right? Didn't have Deebo Samuel. Didn't have Christian. He's got Christian McCaffrey. There's no pressure.
Yeah.
They called Ben up. They called Phillip Rivers up.
You did too. Ben denied it. They're not going.
But apparently, I saw on social media that the Falcons have made calls to the 49ers about Trey Lance, which is interesting.
Yeah. Well, I saw a report that because week 1's coming up soon, and they said that Brock Purdy looks to be the guy who's going to start. I'm not really worried that much about Brock Purdy versus Kenny Pickett. I think Kenny Pickett can win that matchup if it's like, points for points. I don't see in versus our defense that Brock Purdy's going to score 3 TDs. I can score maybe 1, and then we'll see. But it's going to be a defensive game. The better defense will win. And
can you imagine though, if you're Brock Purdy, right? Mike Tomlin, week 1 of every season. I don't want to. he's got a year to scheme off your 5 games. You're gone. You're done.
What I'm saying is some of the there were 49ers fans out there will probably say Kenny Pickett is bad because 7-9, right? But do they forget that their quarterback is Mr. Irrelevant? I haven't forgotten that. Some fans in the NFL have forgotten that Mr. Irrelevant is Brock Purdy. And yes, he played good because their whole team is good.
I didn't even expect Brock Purdy to be drafted that late.
I'm just saying he's Mr. Irrelevant. He's Mr. Irrelevant for a reason, man. I think the Steelers are going to smash him, and I don't think they're going to win that game. I think the more I think about it with the defense and being prepared for that game, Brock Purdy's going to have a very tough time to win versus Steelers.
I think the harder game to win in the first 2 weeks is Cleveland, 100%.
Yeah, that's is that Monday Night Football? I think.
Yeah,
as well. Yeah, so they're more amped up if they're amped up too. So I just see all these people around that Brock Purdy is the next Tom Brady because he hasn't lost a game yet. Better stats, better this. He had a better team than the Steelers like last year. Much better team. Receiver wise, I'm pretty high on his Ayuk. He's up there. Deebo,
Ayuk,
yeah. They got George Kittle. They had a better team last year. So I'm just saying, if you come to the Steelers' house, Heinz Field, in week 1,
and who's your key addition on defense? It's Javon Hargrave. We know Javon Hargrave like the back of our hand. He played here. We know
he is good though. It's going to be exciting to see what he does against Mason Cole, that kind of stuff. And George Kittle talked about taking on TJ Watt, but I don't care. It's TJ Watt versus you, man. I think TJ's going to win that battle. And if you have to protect him with Kittle, if you're using Kittle to block, then you got no one to pass to. You've only got some people to pass to. They'll figure it out.
That's why I reckon Benton could be sneaky in that game. I've got Benton getting a sack week 1.
Yeah. But do you think there'll be a lot of pressure though? I know we'll talk about this as we go on further, but I just think there's going to be a lot of pressure for Brock Purdy to win. I don't see how 49ers going to be that confident walking in saying we're going to win.
The thing that Purdy's got that's going to hurt is there's tape on him. And there's tape of McCaffrey in the system now, and people are going to see it through the preseason. That's the problem. And the Steelers have got 2 weeks to scheme that up. That's not fun. Particularly when you're playing away. They're coming to Heinz Field the first time in years. You got Kenny Pickett coming off a decent rookie year. You got players coming in galore. It's a different freaking mentality. You got a guy like Patrick Peterson. It's going to be Minka and Peterson are going to have a bonanza. That game, it is going to be a problem.
I just want them to quiet the noise of the Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, or fantasy land talk against the number 1 pick who was Kenny Pickett in 2020.
And I'll tell you what if Fred Warner? I hope he doesn't, because Fred Warner's a gun player. If Fred Warner has any sort of niggling injury from camp or and people call me Nostradamus if this comes true, from camp or preseason, they're stuffed. Fred Warner is everything to that defense. So I just, as long as we can, the only thing that worries me a little bit is in that game, and we'll obviously talk about this once we get closer to it, is how you shut down McCaffrey. But Keanu Neal, I'd be going, it's almost like classic man coverage from basketball kind of thing where you're just that's your guy, Keanu Neal. Do not let McCaffrey do a thing. He's your man. You've got, what jersey does he wear for them?
It's 20.
Yeah, 22,
22, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, you just basically you've got his jersey and you got to follow him around. But anything else you want to finish up with before we wrap up the show?
I just want to say that Mr. Irrelevant sucks, and I think we're going to beat him. I'm because all I hear NFL media is talking about Mr. Irrelevant is the best, and they don't talk about Kenny Pickett. They don't. They talk about he's going to be an average quarterback, and I'm like, wait until you see Week 1 when Kenny wins that game, and Mr. Irrelevant is Mr. Irrelevant, and they've got Sam Darnold and Trey Lance over there. I don't think he could be that. They're a good team because they got all the other people around them. And now what do the Steelers have? The Steelers are building that around Kenny Pickett. We saw that in the offseason.
There we go. There's nothing else I'm going to say. Marky D, as always.
Go Steelers. Here we go.